Hey, what's up? This is Paige Mitchell, and you're listening to Paige's Lessons. A quick message from our sponsor before we start the episode. I'm a huge advocate for journaling. Journaling has allowed me to explore my deepest desires, and whenever I encourage my clients to journal what's on their mind, they report back to me so much clarity and gratitude for the prompts that I gave them. That's why I'm so excited that I partnered with the coolest new journaling app called Prompted.io. Prompted is a guided online journal with a set series of expertly designed writing prompts known as prompt pathways that'll help you achieve your specific goals. It's the first and only platform to feature prompt pathways, which is why I'm so thrilled to be a part of their founding thought leaders and be able to create custom topics. So here's the drill. You download the app, you pick your topic, interest, or goal that you want to write about, and then you get a series of journaling prompts written by an expert to help you achieve it. Some of my prompts on this app that you can find are topics around building your dream lifestyle, obviously, giving yourself the gift of gratitude, and how to gain career clarity. Check out my prompts and let me know what you think. There are hundreds of prompts that fit your needs. Try it for free for 1 month using the code PAIGE at prompted.io. That's PAIGE for the discount code in all capital letters, and you can find the link and code located in the show notes. Now back to the episode. Today we're going to be diving into the question of your social life. This is a very important pillar for you because as a society, we live with other people. And even if you are someone who doesn't have many friends, chooses to not have friends or family nearby, you actually live very isolated on a mountain, no civilization, and you love it, that's totally cool. There is no assumption that you need to have 1 million friends to feel fulfilled or communicate with a bunch of people. I just want this pillar for you to be a reflection. I want you to think about your social life and how you relate to one another as a part of your goals. This is a part of building your dream life because whatever you decide to do career-wise or, other relationships-wise, your social life is going to matter. How you spend your time with other people and the intentionality behind it. So let's dive into the question of why, this pillar is so important when it comes to building your dream life. So I'm really passionate about talking about social relationships. And that is the main reason why I got into psychology and understanding relationship dynamics and really just the mental health field in general. Because as an only child, I was really observant of my social circle and other social circles. I was very curious to why some people would get along, not just with me, but in general with anybody. I was curious why some personalities clicked, maybe why some people didn't like each other, why some people blatantly do not like each other and yet they're still hanging out. All of that, I was always very curious just about relationships and how we communicate with one another. And so this episode, I'm going to be mainly focusing on the platonic relationships because there's going to be another episode dedicated just to intimacy and romance. So today we're just going to break down, your community, your friends, your family, just the inner circle that you have of what kind of social life do you want to have when you're building this dream lifestyle of yours. So some of the subtopics that I'm going to cover is, let's just first say the family and friends in your life. And I want us to recognize who is an energy drainer or who is someone that ignites that energy and supports your dream. In episode 3, when I discussed the pillar of the environment. I briefly talked about how much your environment matters when creating your dream life, and I mentioned the impact of your friends and family and overall the people that surround you. And the moral of that story is there are people that will influence your life, period. It doesn't necessarily mean the 5 people you're around, you're going to turn into them, or you're going to, or they're going to turn into you or whatever. It's just, can I have the awareness of who's already around me? And let's just talk about energy. Also in episode 2, when we were talking about careers, Coach Cassie, she gave a piece of homework for you to think about what is it that really makes me feel excited and is, energy towards my career. What are things in my career I don't really like to do? So I want to use that same principle, but for people. So how can we, who we already have in our life, how can we look at them in an observant, caring way, not judgmental, but just observe the relationship you have and say, man, when I hang out with so-and-so, after we hang out, do I feel completely drained? That was actually toxic. I didn't really feel very good. Or, man, I loved that conversation we had. She is so fun, or he is so, interesting and exciting. Like, really just be aware of the relationships you already keep. And is there anyone that is draining your energy, or people in your life that are supporting your dreams? Now, family members, I know that's a little bit harder because they're blood and we can't disown family. However, we can choose our time of how much we want to spend with them. So you can't necessarily not, discount your blood, but you can still choose your social circle. You can choose the time and energy that you want to put into a relationship. And so some of the things of like, well, what do you mean by energy drainers? Like, could you give me some examples? And yes, I would love to give you some examples. So I'm reading this book, and it is called How to Get Shit Done. And I will put the link on Amazon if you want to purchase it. And it's been really helpful. I've been reading it this past month, and the author does a really great job of outlining just ways to be productive and not just be busy, but have intention and goals. And I want to reference something she said about people who might suck your energy, or maybe they're quote unquote toxic people. And just briefly, maybe think about people who are emotional bullies. And what she means by that is they're kind of always cracking jokes, or not really interested in your dreams, and kind of they're making fun of you, but you don't really know, am I benefiting from this relationship? Or you just feel like you're walking on eggshells with them. So maybe there's someone in your life that you feel like you're kind of just tiptoeing around. Just be mindful. Is that a relationship you want to continue? Is that something that's going to benefit you in your new dream lifestyle? There's also the victim. So this is the person that's constantly thinking that the whole world is out to get them, and they just want constant reassurance that their lives suck, and that, they want something out of you to also be in that victim mode with them. And so just, again, be mindful of those kind of relationships, or someone that's very judgy, really analytical of what you say and what you do. Someone who maybe envies what you do. So it's one thing to say oh, I'm so jealous, you got to travel to this country, I've always wanted to, versus someone that's really putting you down, or, being passive aggressive with it. So be mindful of someone that is giving off energy that is making you feel like that. We should know all of these things. It's not about you. It's about them and how they perceive the world and how they want to come across. So notice in my life without judgment, and judgment meaning good and bad, like labeling people, but just having awareness of like, when I hang out with this person, what are some common traits or some behaviors or patterns of how I feel and how the actual relationship is going? Is this a relationship where I'm constantly being the one texting first? And if I don't text first, then I never hear from them in years. So kind of being like, what kind of relationships do I want to pursue? And that's going to just transition into my next topic, which is we're going to get out some journal prompts here. So pause the recording if you need to. Get out a pen and paper. And I'm just going to read you some of my favorite journal prompts for social relationships and just things to consider, so that we can overall just feel very supported by the people that we're around. So the first one is, what does love mean to me in a platonic way? So I think when we share with an intimate partner, I love you, right? We have certain expectations. We have just different needs that need to be met when you're in a intimate romantic relationship. But when it comes to just like your friends, where you don't have that like pressure to like each other in that way, what does love really mean then? Like, how do you want to express love to a friend, to someone that's platonic? Just what does love mean? So I invite you to think about a loving relationship that is strictly platonic. Is it loyalty? Is it humor? Is it validation? Is it trust? Like, it can still be very similar things you want out of an intimate partner. But just think in like a platonic way. What are your expectations of love? What does love mean to you? And start gathering themes. Start gathering core, maybe values of what this means to you. And the next question would be, what relationships make me feel seen? So what are the relationships I already have that I know they have my back? I feel supported. It is what it is. And I'm feeling very comfortable and aligned with these people. So another one could be, what actions can someone take to make me feel seen? So what is it that they do? And if you just picked a couple people, what are those things in action that they do to make you feel seen and heard and loved and validated? And the next one is, what are 3 things I admire about my friend or about my family member? So we're going outside of ourselves and looking at their traits and their personality. For me, I don't know about you, but in high school, for example, and like middle school, I never belonged to a clique. I was actually, yes, I was on my dance team, and that was, I guess, my clique because I was on a team for 4 years. However, I never had like, this is my group of people. It was just like I was friends with everyone, but that's just me. And so I'm curious for you, if you are to name things that you admire in other platonic relationships that you have, do they have same characteristics? Do they have different qualities? And even if they have different qualities, maybe there's something at the root that no matter what, all of them have, even though they're all completely different people. I'd be curious what that looks like for you. And going back again, journaling on, do I feel energized after spending time with this person? Do I feel like I can really be myself in the most authentic way possible? And that's important too, because as you build your dream life, you are creating a new identity because you're doing something you've never done before. And when that happens, sometimes we grow out of our friendships, which is really sad. And that's happened to me quite a few times over the years as I've made new decisions on how I want to live my life, career-wise, relationship, like all of it's drastically changed so much. So that means sometimes, like, I didn't purposely mean to leave people in the dust, However, I will say our values just did not align. And so we ended up not either being friends anymore or both just like quietly ghosting. And I've always said that friendships is actually more complicated and dynamic than romantic, because again, the very first journal prompt, what does love mean to me in a platonic way? That's hard because it's so easy for friends to just like stop communication and then it just dies. Like, have you ever like wondered why, or like thought about, man, I was best friends with this person in 3rd grade and we were inseparable, and now like I don't even know what they're doing or where they live or if they're alive. Like, I think that's so crazy. So it's this principle of like, as you are growing and changing, which is a human being natural thing to do, so is the other person. So it's totally natural to drift apart. However, if you do decide to end a relationship that isn't serving you anymore, isn't aligned with building your dream life, doing it in a way that you're communicating, hey, like this is my needs, and just not being a dick about it. You know, be like, well, we can't be friends anymore. But there's something about this boundary of like, this is what I need from a friend. This is my expectations of how I want people to show up for me. And that's it. And you're not holding someone else like, not hostage. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You're not telling someone what to do, because we gotta have free will. We gotta have autonomy. We gotta acknowledge that we can't control people. We can't, even if we say all of our needs and all the things, we can't have expectations that they're gonna fulfill our needs. We need to be fulfilled with ourselves first and be happy and acknowledge our worth first before we go and seek it out in other people. So that's a roundabout way of saying, how can I be my most authentic self? And how can I cultivate relationships that value the same things? And so a couple more journal prompts that is important, I think, to think about is, how do I communicate hard things? And this is very self-reflective, because maybe the current relationships that you're in with your friends or family, you maybe treat them like they're a therapist, and they're definitely not. They are not mental health professionals. Maybe some are, but majority of your friends, they probably aren't licensed therapists. However, you have like happy hour and like you guys vent for 5 hours, right? Or maybe you don't even say anything at all. It's just a simple like head nod and they get you. So think about, how do I communicate the hard things with my friends? And then how do I prefer people to communicate hard things with me? And just a personal story here, because I have my background in counseling and I have gone through relationships in the past where my friends really treated me like a therapist. I had it was never my turn. And it just felt like a trauma dump. It just felt like we catched up after not talking after a long time, caught up, and then they just like dumped their whole life story on me. And I just felt like, okay, I just felt like I was just used. I just felt like I should have charged them hundreds of dollars. Like, it just felt like they were using me. Whether they were doing that on purpose or not, that doesn't matter. But think about how you communicate hard things. Asking permission is something that has been really helpful, of like, hey, can I share with you something that's really been on my mind? Do you have space to hear that? Are you open to hearing something that I'm struggling with? Like, giving your friend a little heads up before you're just straight up like, okay, so this and this and this happened and la 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 la. Like, that's a lot. So I would encourage you to ask permission in a way of like, hey, this is what's going on my mind. Are you open to hearing about it? And also, I will add on to that request, if you're asking permission, to also say what you need. Like, hey, do you have space or time for me to just vent to you something real quick? And they say, sure. Follow it up with, okay, just so you know, I don't want advice. Because that gives the person that's receiving the information they already have a heads up. They already have an opening ear that they're not problem solving for you. Or you can say, okay, great. Thanks for being open to hearing me vent. I do want advice or I don't want advice. Like, try to make an effort of like, what do you actually want? So the other person can serve and be the best person for you in that situation. And the last thing I would encourage you to do in terms of just your social life, things to think about with journaling is, if I have this dream life where I have this new job, I have this new relationship, I have this new environment, you just have a bunch of new stuff going on. What are the parts of me that want to carry that into this new life? So the current life I'm living is not the one I'm building. So what parts do I want to take and what parts do I want to leave behind? And when I say parts, that could mean several things. That could mean personality traits, that could be values, that could be physical things, I don't know. But think about, as we're building this life, what do I want to keep and what do I want to leave behind? So now as a coach, I'm going to encourage you to really take action here. And that was a lot of journal prompts. That was a lot of self-reflection. But I will also put in the show notes some apps that have been helpful to make friends, some apps that could be helpful for resources of meeting people and starting a community, getting a community together if that's something that you want to do. So I will put that information in the show notes. Make sure to check that out. And again, like I said, let's take some action here. I gave you a bunch of journal prompts. So your responsibility now, as the episode comes to a close, is to set a time where you will start and finish these journal prompts. Because it's one thing to just listen to this episode and like, yeah, that's a lot to think about. But then we never go back to it. We never address it. We never actually get it done. So get that journal, get that notebook, keep it out. And then I encourage you to have conversations, right? Like, hey, I just listened to this episode about my social life and the platonic relationships, and this is what I'm thinking. Is this what you're thinking too? Like, talk to your friends about it. Talk to your friends about the relationships that you want to have, because that's only going to help grow and establish better and like more meaningful relationships that you want to have. Because at the end of the day, no matter what, you're building, you're growing, the people are either going to grow with you and evolve with you, or they're going to be left behind, which is totally fine. That's a part of it. But no matter what, just be authentic, be yourself, know that you are worthy, and really question this social pillar. What does it mean to me? Who do I want in my life, and why? Thank you so much for tuning in today. Remember, every single day provides a lesson. Go out there, dream big, and I'll catch you next week as we discuss another pillar. Take care. Video Ask is a conversational app that allows you to have personalized interactions with your audience. From education to recruitment to sales, many professionals have moved to video interactions to connect on a more personal level and at scale. Video Ask lets you interact face-to-face with short video chats and funnels. I have been using this platform ever since I started my business, and it's really helped me build my coaching rapport with my clients and up-leveled my marketing. Not only can you create customized videos for your audience, and your audience can respond through video, voice recording, or text, you can also incorporate your very own calendar booking URL, embed an email, or add your own website as an interaction button. Video Ask allows you to track conversations, qualify leads using polls and quizzes, but most importantly, I truly believe their customer service is bomb. If I ever had to reach out for them for help, which was not often, they were not only very prompt, but they sent me a customized video helping me with my issue. Sign up with Video Ask absolutely free using the referral link in my show notes. That's typeform.grsm.io/Coach Paige. Showing yourself through video makes you more approachable, which is why I partnered with VideoAsk, and I want to give you a 10% discount code, also located in the show notes, if you decide to upgrade your plan. Thanks so much for listening to Paige's Lessons with me, Paige Mitchell. You can find me on several social media platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all using the same handle at paigemitchell.coach. Got any questions about the show? Send me an email at connect@paigemitchell.coach, located in the show notes. And if you really like the show, don't forget to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening to this so you don't miss an episode. Please make sure to leave a rating and review because I love hearing your observations, takeaway, and personal journey. Remember, every day provides a lesson. You got this.